In 2005, my coworker Matt and I were working in a rundown shared office space above a noisy movie theater in Seattle when he walked in. A hairy, barrel-chested 40-something guy with gold chains, a mean grimace, and a stack of papers in a folder stared down at me. He asked, "Are you Rand Fishkin?" I was 25 years old, disoriented by his arrival, intimidated by his appearance and tone, and utterly panicked. I'm usually a terrible liar, so was taken aback by how quickly a response left my mouth. "Sorry, I don't think he's here." We exchanged a few more words, but I remembered none of them. My heart was pounding. I hated lying, but I also had no idea what might happen if I identified myself. Matt just put on his headphones and pretended to be engrossed in whatever website he was working on. When the extra from The Sopranos left, I called Jillian, president of our 3-person firm, who also happens to be my mom. I told her about the unexpected visitor. She guessed he was a debt collector sent by one of the firms to whom a bank had sold our debt. Oh, right, the debt, the $500,000 we owed in my name to finance our struggling consulting business. 10 minutes after I returned to my apartment, actually Geraldine's apartment, I was unable to pay my half of the rent with my sometimes tiny, sometimes non-existent paychecks, and couldn't pass a credit check either. I heard a knock on the door. Assuming it was Geraldine carrying something she didn't want to put down to turn the key, I opened up without looking through the peephole. It was the debt collector. "Ha, gotcha," he said. I was mute. "You're pretty good, kid. I totally bought that act today." Scared senseless, I just stared at him. He handed me the folder of papers I'd seen in his hand earlier and said, "Rand Fishkin, you've been served." I couldn't even reach out to take them. He dropped them on the ground and walked away. Oops, I accidentally a startup. In the summer of 2000, I was 21, with a year of college to go at the University of Washington in Seattle. I'm one of those lucky kids whose parents paid his tuition so he could focus on his studies, not on work. That is, until I got into a fight with my dad, and he threatened to cut me off. I was too prideful and stubborn to back down, apologize, or reconcile, so for the next 2 quarters, I had to pay my own way. I worked part-time at the Wizards of the Coast Game Center, a giant arcade, gaming event center, and retail shop around the corner from campus. My $4.75 an hour salary was supplemented by buying Pokemon cards with my employee discount and reselling them on eBay and Craigslist for a tidy profit. I designed and built a few websites on the side for some extra cash, and thankfully, in the early 2000s, college tuition hadn't yet skyrocketed past the point of absurdity. A full quarter, including books, only cost around $3,000, a sum I scraped together while still managing to have enough to go out to the movies, buy the occasional used video game, and pay the rent on my small shared apartment. But 2 classes away from graduating, I threw in the towel. Part of it was the cost, part of it was the lack of value I perceived from school, but a lot of it was because of a failed romantic relationship. Long distance plus breakup equals broken heart. I wish I could say entrepreneurship was the catalyst for dropping out, but the truth is the other way around. I wallowed in a little self-misery, watched a lot of X-Files reruns, and only then realized I needed something to do besides work retail. Web design was my path of least resistance. In 1981, my mom, Jillian, started a marketing consultancy in Seattle, helping small businesses with their logos, yellow page ads, brochures, and other print and advertising materials. In the late 1990s, her clients started asking for websites, and she recruited me to learn front page, Dreamweaver, and HTML so I could help out. I liked the work and the extra money, and when I told my mom I wanted to work with her full-time and not go back to college, she obliged. Over the summer of 2001, we dreamed big. Seattle's tech scene was booming in Microsoft's backyard. Startups like Amazon, Cosmo, and Home Grocer dominated the local news. Everyone was switching from slow dial-up modems to high-speed broadband. we thought we had an amazing opportunity to design sites for local businesses that needed a presence on the soon-to-be ubiquitous internet. When the dot-com crash hit, I barely noticed. Our clients still needed websites, and I didn't pay much attention to the falling prices, the late payments, or the commoditization of web design.